Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
Special shout out to our sponsors of Marketing with Russ, D. Scott Smith, Country Vitamins, and the Oaks at Lebanon. For more information on D. Scott Smith and business networking, a scientific method, go to dscottsmith.com. And for more information on Country Vitamins and their amazing vitamins and supplements in Corvallis, Oregon, go to countryvitamins.com. And for more information on the Oaks at Lebanon Retirement and Assisted Living at 621 West Oak Street in Lebanon, Oregon, call 541-258-7777. Hey, just grew into that music. Welcome everybody to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Man, I am glad you're here today. I have an amazing, outstanding guest. Been blessed to know William for a while now and had him on one of my other live streams with Scott, the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. It was awesome. And so I had to get him in here on Marketing with Russ, and we're going to get to him soon. But I just want to tell you how glad and blessed that I am you're here today. It is just an amazing day. And, you know, we're here every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. And it is always at 8 a.m. Pacific. So we're here, whatever time it is where you are, just tune into that. Don't forget Mondays and Thursdays. We're consistent all the time. Love to have you part of this community. You know, we are all about connection here. And, you know, marketing to me, the foundation of that is connection and community building. I think connection and community building is the foundation of really any good business, any good life, but definitely any good marketing plan. And, you know, so we talk here to amazing people, and it's all about how amazing people connect. They tie this into all the things they're doing in life. You know, so many different people with great value, like William today, that come in and spend time with me. And I'm so blessed to have them as friends. I could not have asked for a greater group of friends that I have developed over the last many years. And so many here from all over the U.S., all over the world that come in here and bless me and you with their time on Marketing with Russ. So we're all about amazing people who connect. And you know what? I love to connect. So go to russhedge.com. That's right. I keep it simple. My name, if you know it, you can find me. russhedge.com is the place to go. And it has all my connection links, whether you like social media or you like to call me or email me, or you just want to schedule time directly on my calendar. You can do that and Zoom with me. And I would love for you to connect with me. You know, my goal this year, again, is to connect with at least 1,000 new people. And I would love for you to be one of those. You know, I've knocked that out of the park the last 2 years in a row, and I would love to do it again this year with your help. So connect with me today at russhedge.com. That would be so great. All the information about me there too. Everything that I do, my marketing coaching, my keynote speaking, live stream and live stream producing. Love to help you with all that. I also coach people on live streams, also help people with business development. So I'm just here for you and your business today. Also, I would love for you to subscribe on YouTube. That would be so So amazing. Our YouTube community is growing, and I'd love for you to be part of that. I keep it simple. Again, if you know the name of this show, you can find it. Marketingwithruss.live. Marketingwithruss.live is the place to go to take you directly to my YouTube page. You can hit subscribe. In fact, why don't you right now open up a separate window, hit another tab, type in marketingwithruss.live, and go ahead and subscribe right now. There's no time like the present. Get that done. We'd love for you to be part of that. What does that do for you? Well, it gives you quick access to all these amazing people that I'm talking about. I'm coming up here at the end of the month on 400 episodes of just Marketing with Russ. And on my YouTube also includes Russ Reels Live, the experience with Russ and Scott. There's lots of other good live streams on there as well. So no more binging Netflix or Prime. You can go straight to Marketing with Russ on your weekends and see these amazing people. And if you miss Bill, you can go back and watch him again. Or guess what? This also converts to audio podcasts. So after we're done here, it converts over. If you missed it, you can listen to it in your car, on your radio, on your headphones, wherever you are, on your favorite podcast platform, whether that's iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever. We're there for you. So I'd love to have you part of this family. Also, please share this out. Tag your friends. Let them know, hey, everybody, woo! William, I'm going to say it right. There you go. William is coming on. And he's going to be on soon with Russ. You got to watch it. Share it out. There's people that are going to want to hear his amazing story of his journey with writing books and his latest book and who inspired him to write that book. I'm not going to steal any of his glory here and let him tell about it, but you're not going to want to miss it. So you're going to want to share that with your friends and let them know. Okay. Also, don't forget my book, Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose, and my current books. I'm on my 4th collaborative book coming up here. So not only can you go to Amazon or any online bookseller or russhedge.com and buy Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose, you can also buy the companion workbook that goes with that. You can also buy Rattled Awake Volume 1, which I worked with a bunch of collaborative authors. It was amazing. Also, A Note to My Family, You Are My Legacy, another collaborative book. Amazing. And coming up here in the next few weeks, we have Perspectives on Cancer, Volume 2 that I'm part of, and Beyond Measure, which is also coming out here in the next couple of weeks. Those both are going to be great collaborative books as well. So don't want you to miss that. Okay, we have one more thing to do before we get William in the room, and that is our marketing tip of the day. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. This is your marketing tip of the day. Take a risk. That's it. Take a risk and do something new. Take a risk and do something new. Break out of the box that you're in. Break out of the conventional thinking that everybody around you is telling you what you should do, how you should think. You've got to quit letting people should all over you, telling you what you should do, because you're your own unique individual. It's great to learn from people that know more. It's great to gather information, but you need to be you. So take a risk today, do something new, and make something amazing happen. Whether that is doing something to raise your visibility, or whether that's doing something just to market to a segment of people you really want. If you want to know who your ideal customer is, you need to really start connecting and building community and paying attention and listening to other people. Find out what they want. So today, take a risk, do something new, and that is your marketing tip of the day. All right. So I just want to tell you that gets broken out. And if you missed it, or if you want to see it again, or if you want to send it to somebody else, that'll be all over social media and on YouTube, by the way, in shorts. So you can see that in either place. And we do that for every episode of Marketing with Russ. Okay. We're going to do it now. William's coming in the room. He's waiting. Here he comes. Hey, William.
Hey, how you doing, Russ? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I struggle. I'm such a short name guy, but I'm doing good. So far, I'm batting about 95% here, William.
Yeah.
And so,
well, as I said earlier, I was only called William when I was growing up, and it was by my mother when I was in trouble, So, but the reason that I'm going with it is I have no books by the name Bill Carl. I've got 9 books out there, started writing in 1979. So I've got 8 nonfiction books. and two of them have been translated into Korean. And now I have this one fiction book, this novel, but they're all William J. Carl. So I can't go by Bill in these podcast interviews, or people won't be able to find anything, you know.
Well,
So
I am going to stick to it, William, and that's amazing. 1979. Let's think. So I'm coming up on my 60th birthday. I'll be 60 years young this summer. And in 1979, I was a sophomore in high school. And that is not too young to write books. I know some amazing young people that are writing books with
that's
the
right.
technology at their fingertips now that are just in high school or even before. It's amazing. Some really intelligent young people. And so that shows us we have a bright future ahead.
We do. When I wrote the first book in 1979, it was called Epiphany, and it wasn't a novel or anything like that, but it was a commentary actually for pastors working on sermons and all that. But I was a professor at Union Seminary in Richmond, Virginia, and it's publish or perish. I mean, that seminary was amazing and still is. I remember walking into the bookstore, and no one ever said publish or perish or pushed me, but I saw my colleagues' names on all the books in the bookstore. I said, I better get to work,
Oh my
And
goodness.
I love your point about take a risk, because that's what you do when you write.
That's right.
And I took the risk back then and started, and then I did another one 81, another one 84. And every time you either speak or come on as you are here on these programs, wonderful programs that you have, or write, you're exposing yourself.
Yeah.
There's kind of a nakedness to all of this. And so it takes risk. It really takes believing in yourself to be able to do it.
Yeah, it does. In fact, I never thought that I'd write a book if it wasn't for encouragement from a super good friend, Mr. D. Scott Smith, who and a great encouragement from my wife and family. I would not have done that. And I did, through the encouragement of my beautiful wife, put in a lot of stories around the points I wanted to get across in my first book. And so you're right. There's little snippets all about me and stories about different things. In fact, you and I were talking a little bit about football. There's even a story for my football in high school. You start thinking about these things and these principles you've learned over the years, and it really takes you back. But I digress. Before we get too far ahead here, William, tell everybody that doesn't know, who is William and what are you all about?
So I am retired now and a former academic and a former pastor. I was a professor in seminaries. I've lectured at all the Presbyterian seminaries and Lutheran and Methodist and all different denominations. And then I was president of Pittsburgh Theological Seminary, the oldest Presbyterian seminary in the country. It's older than Princeton. And served as a pastor in Dallas and in Birmingham, Alabama. And so the books I mostly wrote were religious books, different kinds. One that I had when Alex Haley first told me to write a novel was a set of lectures I'd given at Princeton called Preaching Christian Doctrine. And so this was a big change for me to go to fiction. And I did start on this book 30 years ago when Alex first told me I should write a novel, but it took me 30 years. And one of the points I made on, you do posts on LinkedIn, and I would say to your hearers, they know how many posts you put on LinkedIn, Russ. I mean,
Yeah.
You're there, you're a presence there. But I have a couple of publicists, and they've encouraged me to go ahead because, put them out there frequently. And one of the posts I did wasn't just about my novel. The title was Never, Ever Give Up! Exclamation point. Maybe 2 exclamation points. There are times when you are writing or you're doing whatever it is you're doing when you think, I don't know if I can finish this, or I don't know if I can do this. It's just overwhelming. And there are many times I wanted to give up in 30 years through 12 revisions of this novel. And yet there was this idea in the back of my head that I should never, ever give up. And I want to say that to those who are listening. You're working on something right now, and it's been frustrating, and you've hit a wall, and you've got a blank page, but you got to write some more. Don't stop. You know, you will get it done if you just stay at it. So that's what I had to do with this novel. So
Yeah. Well, and I love that because it's so important for people to realize that this is something I learned from sports, actually. This is a good thing. If I was writing a chapter right now and using an analogy, I would think of sports because you can push beyond where you think you can go. And I don't know if people remember, there's been, a lot of good sports movies that have shown really good coaches that have pushed people beyond where they thought they could go to achieve amazing things. And sometimes we need a little bit nudge from our friends. That's why I feel like we're better together. But
yes,
also, we just have to realize within ourselves when we feel we can't do it, we just need to push beyond. Like our pastor at our church, he does Ironman races. He goes, there's always a
wow,
place during the marathon that he hits about halfway into the marathon that his body wants to shut down and stop. And he has to push
yeah.
through that and get through that to make it to the end. But, it can be done. So I love that theme. So, okay. So we don't run out of time and we can talk about it. Tell us a little bit about, number one, remind us, you've said it a couple of times, who really inspired you to write this book, and what's the book all about, the fiction book?
Okay, the person that inspired me was Alex Haley, the author of Roots. And actually, I have a picture of Alex and me together from way back then. I don't know if it's
Wow,
flashing too much.
that
Yep,
is
there he
really
is.
good.
That's the real Alex Haley. And I had him speak at our church in Dallas at a program we called Town Hall Forum. And he's sitting in my office, and he says, before he has to go up, he says, "You got to write have you written anything?" And I go, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, let me see one of your books." And so I pulled one off the shelf, which was the set of lectures I'd given at Princeton. And so I'm sitting there while the author of Roots is thumbing my book, reading, and I'm wondering, what in the world is he going to say? And he thumbs and he reads and he thumbs. And then all of a sudden he stops and he says, "Bill, you need to write a novel." And I said, "What makes you say that, Alex?" He said, "Two things. One, you know how to write, you write really well. And two, you know how to tell a story, and that's all a novel is." I said, "What in the world would I write a novel about?" He said, "What kind do you like?" I said, "Oh, Tom Clancy, and Robert Ludlum, the Jason Bourne, Jack Ryan, international espionage, all that stuff." He goes, "Write one like that." I said, "Alex, I don't know much about that. I'm a minister." He said, "But you're a Greek scholar and you know about old manuscripts, put that together with international espionage." And that's what happened. And all this 30 years later is Assassin's Manuscript, which is a Dan Brown meets Daniel Silva thriller. And both of those kinds of novels, if you like Dan Brown or you like Daniel Silva or Tom Clancy, those two come together in this story. And the story is about a former CIA assassin who becomes a minister in Tennessee and then gets pulled back to his old world of espionage and murder. Now, I happen to live in Tennessee, and other podcast interviewers go, "Wait a minute, is this autobiographical?" The truth is, I pause and I go, "Well, all writing is autobiographical." And then I pause for a moment and I said, "But I haven't done the latter, the first part, which is I haven't killed anybody or anything like that." But I did have I did have 3 years of Taekwondo karate training in
Ah,
seminary, Russ. It was an extracurricular course for handling rough parishioners, And so I got some background for how to write about this kind of character and action scenes like that. So this guy gets pulled back to his old world of espionage and murder, and he has to crack a code in an ancient manuscript to prevent an find a terrorist plot and prevent an international disaster. So it's a wild, swashbuckling story, and there is an unlikely romance in it. In fact,
ah,
it's popping up on Amazon as a romantic action adventure. because my main character in something that happened before the novel started was doing his last hit in New York City, trying to kill this Bedouin terrorist, but by accident, with a bomb that goes off, he kills the Bedouin's girlfriend. He kills his own wife, who was coming down that same street thinking she'd surprise him, and he kills the fiance of a woman in Maryville, Tennessee, whom he goes to meet and becomes her pastor, and she gets interested in him and then gets caught up in his wild intrigue around the Middle East, begins falling in love with him, not knowing that he killed her fiance. So there's this very unlikely romance, and the reader's wondering all the way through, is she going to find out, and what's she going to do? And she does.
Well, I've got to obviously dive into my copy, so I'm going to have to get reading here to find out what happens at the end. But yeah, no, that is, I love that. I love those type of books. In fact, I don't know, have you read much of Joel Rosenberg's books that are out there?
I have been advised about him. I had not read any yet, but I've heard about him, and he sounds great.
Well, you would like it because it's all about, but it's also surrounds current events and all. It's really good. It's that type of a book. It's very hard to put down once you get started. And he's written several series. But anyway, that's your book reminds me a lot of that. Except for I mean, it's going to be a good one. I can't wait to read it. But anyway, okay, so you wrote this book, and Alex Haley encouraged you to do it. And you hit those spots, obviously, through the years, because it took you 30 years to write it. Why didn't you just give up on it? And what really kept you going? What was the catalyst that helped you plow through and finish it?
Well, it was so much fun because it was kind of an adventure just working on it. Some people said you should write a book about this adventure you went on, because I traveled to 7 foreign countries to do the research. So this takes place in Canada, in Toronto, in London, in Germany, in Russia. I've lectured in Moscow and up in the Ural Mountains, and then in Jerusalem and Rome and St. Catherine's Monastery at the foot of Mount Sinai. So there are lots of descriptions that I could write because I was there, and that was fun. And so I should say I wrote most of it early on. The first version, Russ, was 740 pages. Just think about that. Oh my
goodness.
Yeah, like War and Peace. And I brought it into a literary agent's office in Dallas, and I dropped it on his, you nearly broke my desk with that thing. Go take 200 pages out. And I thought, that's like killing my own babies. I mean, what is that? But, when you do a PhD, as I did, and mine was in rhetoric and communication, you learn how to edit. You learn how to kill those babies and move it on. That's an odd phrase to use. Learn how to get rid of parts of it. In fact, I've said on podcast interviews that great stories, novels, screenplays, plays, poems are not written, they're rewritten. There's no such thing as a great first draft. You have to keep editing. I like to imagine a good story is a little bit like Michelangelo with a slab of stone. And he keeps chipping away, knowing there is a David hidden there. And eventually the David emerges. That's what editing is. Stephen King, I'm not a big fan of all of his horror stuff, but he has a book on writing, and he has a wonderful line in there I love, Russ. It goes like this: to write is human, to edit is divine. And that's why you need a great editor. And right. My editor was Charles Cornwell, who is the former husband of Patricia Cornwell and was her editor through all of her books. And he was the one who finally, on the 12th revision, said, it's masterful, get it out there. So I wrote it a long time ago, but I just kept chipping away at it to get the right story. I had to learn how to write screenplays. Because that's what tightens the story.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So Cornwall, that name is very familiar. Is there any relation to the Cornwall that pastored in Oregon?
It's Cornwell, excuse me.
Oh, Cornwell, got it. Yeah, okay, yeah, I heard it wrong. Okay,
Charles Cornwell, and Yeah, Patricia Cornwell.
Okay.
He was a professor of English at Davidson College,
Ah,
who then decided to go into the ministry, and he came to Union Seminary where I was on the faculty. So I had him in my Greek classes and homiletics, liturgics, all that, and we became good friends. And then he said, "Yeah, I'll help edit your book," and so that's what he did. And he was amazing. He was wonderful. Yeah.
well, that's so awesome. That is so awesome. Well, listen, as we're drawing close to having to wrap things up here, and I just first of all want to encourage everybody. Number one, connect with William. Number two, buy his book. I mean, it sounds like you cannot put this thing down, and I'm going to pick up my copy and plow through it and read it. I am excited about that. But William, I want you to give everybody kind of a wrap up of what we talked about today. What is your gold nugget of today's
Yeah.
conversation, and then tell everybody how to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So you mentioned about marketing, and I will say that my goal is to do something every single day related to promoting this book. And today, my wife and I were on with our financial advisor, and he said, "What are you working on?" And I told him, and he said, "Oh, that sounds really fascinating." And I said, "Yeah, and you do Audible, right? You do audiobooks." He said, "Yeah, that's all I ever do." I said, "Well, our actor son, who was in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, the final season. He's been in a George Clooney movie, and he's expert on international accents. He's the one that brings this story to life as the narrator. So if you're into Audible, check out Assassin's Manuscript in the narrator, in the audio version. And the final thing I'll say is I carry with me bookmarks that have information about the book and how it's on sale in 42 countries, and now it's popped up in the Harvard bookstore. And I carry my business card, which has a picture of the book on it. And everywhere I go, I walk up to people. I'm kind of an extrovert like you, Russ. I just walk up to people and I know it's shameless self promotion, but every single day, someone is getting one of these bookmarks. And they might not buy the book or they might buy it, but at least something is happening every day.
There you go. There you go. And people get in touch with you.
Oh, yeah. So I have a little company called LeConte Publishing, LeConte, named after the main mountain here in the Smoky Mountains called Mount LeConte. And it's LeConte Publishing, all one word.com. So people can find me there and find out more information about this book.
Well, that is awesome. And we'll make sure that we have, and I think we do, but we'll make sure we have all that information in the show notes and in the comments. And I tell you, I can't believe how much I appreciate you coming on. I'm so excited to read your book, and I've been meaning to pick it up here. I've been, you know how we always get busy in life. I just need to just start it, because once you start it, it sounds like you can't put it down. So there you go.
It's a page turner. Yeah, it goes fast.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, William, thanks so much. I'm going to say goodbye, send you out, but hang tight for just a minute as I wrap things up. All right?
Sure.
Okay. See you in a minute. All right, everybody. Well, listen, I'm telling you, what an amazing individual. I mean, I love what he's all about, going from being a pastor and writing some really good nonfiction books to moving into this novel, showing that you can move beyond your comfort zone. You can take a risk, just like we talked about in the marketing tip of the day today. Take a risk, do something new, write a book. And there's so many collaborative efforts going on. And I know this because I've been involved in 4 now in the last 8 months that give you a chance to dip your toe in the water as far as being an author. I am now a 2-time and soon to be 3 or 4-time international best-selling author because I worked with people smarter than me, better than me, and I collaborated and I worked with them, and we're able to put out these books. And it's just an amazing process. And I never thought that I'd be an author. And now on Amazon, currently I have 4 books up there, counting my workbook, and I'll have 2 more soon. And so it's amazing what you can accomplish, right? And it wasn't because I was so great. It was because I was willing to take a risk and do something new, just like we talked about in the marketing tip of the day. Don't forget, if you want to see that again, that gets cut out and put all over social media, so you can do that. And I just want to thank Bill or William, sorry, William, so much for being here today. I almost pulled it off. I almost made the rest of the show without doing that. But, William, I do really appreciate all that you're doing. I appreciate you being on today, and I appreciate all of you for watching. Remember that we are here every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. And this show is all about how amazing people connect. That's right. Amazing people here every week. And I wish you would join us next show on Monday. And then you can see the latest, newest person we have that's amazing. Also, please connect with me at russhedge.com as I get my mouth working, russhedge.com. And please subscribe on YouTube by going to marketingwithruss.live. That's all there is to it. So thank you so much for doing that. If you're watching on replay, remember, you can still share this out. You can still comment, and you can engage with people in the comments even after the show is not live. So appreciate y'all being here today. We'll be here next Monday. Appreciate you. Have a great day and a great life. And until then, have a good one. We'll see you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.